So, if you're worried that maybe you're being overattentive as a parent, or you're wondering if you're hovering a little too much, I have a tip for you today for how you can explore this a little bit somatically. So, the key again is not to judge yourself and to think to yourself, oh, I have to stop doing this. Um, Even when your impulse is to watch your kids more closely, that's just overriding what's actually going on in your body. And isn't very helpful. And I'll tell you why. It's because when you try to change your behavior in this regard, because you're worried that other people might be judging your parenting, or think that you're overprotective. When you try to back off, even though you're feeling pulled to still be, intervening in some way, or paying more attention to your kids, or maybe doing something for them that others say that you shouldn't. The problem with trying to override the instinct that's in your body is that that just takes us kind of down a pathway of being more disconnected from our bodies, which makes it harder for us to connect with our kids, right? In order to attune to our children, we need to actually stay as connected as we can. It's never perfect, but stay connected as we can to our own body sensations. So the alternative to overriding our body sensations and just trying to change our behavior based on what other people might think, or based on what your inner critic might be saying inside your head, is to explore what's going on in your body using a more somatic approach. So here's what that might potentially look like, depending on what your situation is. So maybe you're in a situation where you're about to take over for your child, do something for them that they already know how to do themselves, or intervene in a social situation, and give advice that maybe they haven't even asked for, or orchestrate things somehow so that they're not going to be, so that things aren't going to be difficult for them. Whatever the case may be, in that moment, if you can catch yourself before you take action, maybe you're even just thinking about it in your head, like, and you're wondering if you should go ahead with your, what you're feeling drawn to do or not. If you can catch yourself before you take action and pause and notice how it feels to pause, this is where you may be able to gain some awareness. So just noticing when you pause, first of all, do you feel hesitant or some resistance to even pausing in the first place? So that's one thing. Another thing, does it feel okay if you do pause? Does it feel okay to pause? Um, and if it feels okay, what in your body tells you that it feels okay to pause? And if it doesn't feel okay, um, what are you noticing in your body? Maybe there's a little tension somewhere, maybe there's a lump in your throat. Just do a little body scan and see what you notice, just with curiosity. There isn't a right or wrong. We're gathering information when we do this. If you do notice a sensation that's maybe a little bit of tension or maybe a bit uncomfortable, are you able to kind of hang out there for even half a minute or so, or maybe a minute? And just notice how it feels to be there. Does it get bigger or smaller? Does it stay the same? Do any thoughts or fears arise? And if so, if you do have some emotions come up, is there anything that you can do to soothe yourself or comfort yourself? So those are just some possibilities. That's very brief. There's probably more explorations that you could do, but that's kind of a brief idea of how you could explore that to try to gain some awareness yourself to whether or not there's something in your nervous system, possibly from your past, that might be kind of bubbling up and contributing to the decisions you make about whether to help your child more or not, or to stand back a little bit. Often parents who are quite vigilant with their children have had a little bit of hypervigilance in their nervous system for a time from their own past experiences. So sometimes information or awareness as that will pop up, and sometimes not. It might be a little bit of anxiety or some fear, maybe some unprocessed grief. And none of those are bad things. It's not necessarily bad. I'll just remind you that there is no perfect out there. Everybody has something that they're working on, okay? So just be gentle with yourself with whatever you notice. If you do start to pay attention, you can use the awarenesses that you're gaining every time you do this to learn and grow. And the benefit of exploring this somatically, as I'm suggesting, is that the more you're able to feel your own body sensations and impulses, and the more you stay connected to yourself and those impulses, that's what helps you to attune to your child, right? And have a connected or attached relationship with your child, and build secure attachment. So the tips that I've given you today are things that you can do on your own. If you find yourself wanting some more support, or you want to do some healing work around your vigilance, you find yourself kind of getting stuck and you feel like there's more that you could explore than you're able to do on your own, I do offer relational somatic therapy online for parents who are trying to shift some of those parenting habits. And you can find more information at the link below. But either way, whether you choose to do it on your own or whether you want a little support, thanks so much for listening. I'm glad you're here. I wish you well as you explore this and get curious about what's going on in your body when you are wanting to help your kids possibly a little more than they need.